In this session we're going to be looking at using the for do loop in JavaScript. We have an index.html file that has a link to an external JavaScript file called functions.js. You will need two text files. As you can see, I've got an index.html and a functions.js. Then you can reference the functions.js file, and therefore we can then work in our function file to create our code. I'm using Dreamweaver as an editor so we can see the runtime view and the code view at the same time, but you can do this from Notepad or Notepad++ or any editor that you choose. To start with, let's have a look at the structure of the for do loop. So I'm just going to use a comment here. So this isn't its code, but to give you an idea, we need a for and we need a starting position. So we normally declare what that start might be. So I'm just going to put start, and then we have our stop, and then we have what's known as a step, what we want to go up in. So for the start, and we might actually have 1. So if we start at 1 and we might want to stop at 10 and we want to go up in ones, and it will carry out the loop that fixed amount of times because we're specifying when to start and when to stop. To show this as code, first of all we need a variable. So we're going to declare I. This is our index, and we'll use this to step through because we need to know which loop we're in. So am I in the first time through, second time through, etc. So we need I. And declare the for do loop, we go for, and we need to give it start, so we go I equals 1. Then we use a semicolon. We could then ask, well, where do we want to stop? Well, actually I want to stop when I is less than or equal to 10. So this will count from 1 up to 10. And then we need our step. Now to step, we can actually go I++. Every time we go through, just add 1 to I until where the stop is, until I gets equal to 10. And then when it gets to 11, stop the program altogether because it's no longer less than or equal to 10. And then we have an open brace and a close brace. So we have our start, our stop, and our step. What I might do here is just put those together, make it look nicer. So start, stop, step. And what we want to do is see what the value of I is as we go through. So I'm just going to output this, and I'm going to use a document.write, and I'm just going to output I at this point of time. And let's run our program. So I can save that, and when I refresh up here, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, it doesn't look very good at the moment because they're all in a straight line. So what I'm going to do is add a break tag to this. So I'm going to add a HTML tag, which is the BR tag, and refresh this now. And you notice I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now when it's finished those 10 loops, we can actually go document.write and then put in here finished, and then I'll put a break tag in here as well so it goes to the next line, and then we can close that off. So let's have a look now. So you notice it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and once it's finished it then writes this line. So let's have a look at the mechanics of this. Let's step through. I is 1. Is I less than or equal to 10? Yes it is. So document out writes I with a break. So it puts 1 on screen. Then it increments the step. So I++ is the same as, and I'll just put a little comment just over here. So we can do this. We can go I++, or we can have I plus equals 1, or you can have I equals I plus 1. So these are 3 different things you can have in here which increment by 1, and we'll talk about step in a moment. But we're pretty well saying I, first time through I is 1. Once we've outputted this I, we increment it by 1, so I plus 1, so 2 is stored in I. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes it is, so that it outputs 2. And then it goes add 1 to I, so 2 now becomes 3, is 3 less than 10, so forth till it gets to 10. So 9 becomes 10, is 10 less than and equal to 10? Well, 10's not less than 10, but it is equal to 10, so therefore it's true. So it outputs number 10. I then gets incremented again, so 10 plus 1 is 11. Is 11 less than or equal to 10? Well, it's not less than, and it's not equal to, therefore it stops, and then outputs our finished command at the bottom. So that's how we can step through. So let's have a look at the different steps. So we've got I++. Say I want to go up in 2's. Let's start at 0. Is 0 less than 10? Yes, so it should output now when I run the program, from 0 through to 10, because we're starting at 0. Let's go up in 2's. So rather than I++, I can use the command I plus equals 2. So every time we step through, add 2 to it. So 0 less than 10, yes. Now add 2. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. So it goes back through and outputs that. Let's have a look at the program now. No, it's got 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's going up in 2's. If I want to go up in 3's, I could change that to 3. Run the program again. Starts at 0, 3, 6, 9. If I want to start at 3, I can do that and go up in 3, 6, 9. So my start and the condition for stop and my step. So that's using the plus equals for step. And if I want to, I can use the old method of I is equal to I plus, let's go 5. Run the program again. We got first time through is 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. Is 8 less than 10? Yes, so document right 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. And because that's greater than or equal to 10, it then stops and shows us finished. So they are the 3 different methods of step when incrementing upwards. But what if I want to count down? Well, we need to start at a number. So let's start at 10. And say we want to do a countdown for a rocket ship, 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. Well, while I is less than 10, well, if we start at 10, it's equal to 10, it will show the first one, then stop, because we're going up by 5s. But we want to say, well, if we start at 10, and while I is greater than and equal to, say, 0, so while 10 is greater, while I is greater than or equal to 0, we want to do this. But every time we step, rather than stepping up, we want to step down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the opposite of these. So rather than plus plus, the opposite of plus plus is I minus minus. The opposite of I plus 1 is I minus equals 1. And the last one, which is on the next line now, so I'll just move this across. Rather than having I equals I plus 1, it's I equals I minus 1. And we can change the 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So you get the gist of what we're trying to do here, and the 3 different methods and the opposite of those. So we're trying to count down. So what we're going to do now is actually go down by negatives, and let's see what happens. So we refresh now. We go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and rather than having 0, let's change that to blast off. So we can change that now to stop at 1. So once it's I is equal to 1, then we want to stop when it goes to 0. Rather than going finish, we'll go blast off. Run the program again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. So now we're actually counting down. If we wanted to, once again, we could minus equals 2 and go down in 2's. And we can do the same for the rest. So that's how a for do loop works.